game against the Bucks on a 3-game winning streak, as you can see here. So here's the question. Have they figured it out?
I'm as bullish on this Cavs team as I've been on them all year long. Even in the preseason, when I thought they looked pretty good in the preseason. They're playing defense, 40% shooting by their opponents over the last 4 games. Kyrie Irving, a guy who I have been out front on criticizing over the years, I have got to give him supreme compliments. He is showing remarkable effort on the defensive end. I don't want to get into X and O's here, but we know in basketball, most of the time in a half-court set, point guard gets picked. Almost all the time in Kyrie's career, he'd let himself get picked. The guy would get by and the team would break down. He's attacking that pick now, showing effort defensively. They're figuring out their rotations. They're going to figure it out more. One of the things that happened the other night, Andy Varejao missed the game with bruised ribs. Kevin Love had his best scoring game of the year. The reason? LeBron and Kyrie Irving are comfortable playing with Andy Varejao. So when it gets tight in the game, they run to Varejao's side for pick and rolls. The other day, Varejao's having the best offensive season of his career because of that. Yep. But Varejao's not a good offensive player. Kevin Love is now, he gets that. They were running plays for him. He has his highest scoring game of the year. So not only do I see him turning it around defensively, but I see him starting to figure it out. So now that Miami team, they went 8-7, then they went 9-8, then they went 21-1. I didn't foresee that at that time, but I'm bullish on where this Cavs team is headed right now.
I'm going to wait and see. I'm impressed particularly with how they played against the Washington Wizards and ran over them the other night, because I believe the Washington Wizards to be a legitimate threat in the Eastern Conference. When Nene is healthy and on the court with Gortat, with Wall and Beal, I believe in that crew. And Paul Pierce is a leader and a champion that I think adds a lot to that squad. The fact that the Cavaliers, after losing to them earlier, came back and steamrolled over them the other night meant a lot to me. I'm going to be interested in seeing what they do, and they should beat Milwaukee tonight, even though we must take a moment to commend the job that Jason Kidd is doing with the Milwaukee Bucks, because the Brooklyn Nets don't look like the same team without him than they looked like with him last year, even though it's still early and all of that stuff. And they were struggling early with Jason Kidd last year as well. But I look at Cleveland, and the jury is still out on Love. He plays below the rim. He's physical, but doesn't seem as physical as he used to be in Minnesota. Seems to be pretty much a spot-up shooter. I know Blatt's raving about his defense, going to the X's and O's, not getting into that too much. We all know that Blatt, with that Princeton offense and what he learned under Carroll for years ago, we know that he wants ball movement, he wants spacing, he wants the ball shifting quickly from one side of the floor to the other. He wants to create problems on the offensive end for his opponents that way. They weren't doing it early, they're doing it now. Let's see if it continues. I like what I'm seeing from Kyrie, just like you said. Kyrie's been very impressive. LeBron is amping it up now, just the same way he did after 15 games with Miami. Love is the question mark. I don't think Kyrie's a question mark. I don't think LeBron's a question mark. I think Love is the question mark here.
Okay, my question mark for you is, are you suggesting that you're going to project the Wizards over the Cavaliers long term?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's possible, though, Skip, that this year the Wizards could end up meeting the Cavs in the conference finals. I don't think that's a far-fetched scenario.
Okay. All right. Now, back to our friend Brian. We do appreciate your insight, especially on the Cavaliers. Yeah. And Brian told me something before we started this topic, that you're fascinated by this team, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Much more so than you were the past couple of 3 Miami Heat teams.
I was just trying to get through the regular season with that Heat team. I mean, it was just like they were tugging themselves through the regular season. They did that 27-game winning streak a few years ago that was fun. But this Cavs team, I can't wait to watch them every night. What's going on with them is fascinating. They're learning. It's almost like you're looking at a freshman in high school learning the game and getting better. I can't wait to watch them play the Bucks.
I don't mind watching them on TV. I don't feel I necessarily need to be there.
It's not warm here? Is that why?
TV.
Okay.
I like the Cavaliers on TV. In person.
Austin
in
Carr.
Cleveland.
Austin Carr is
I could do it out there.
I agree. I love Austin Carr.
I could do it out there. I could watch them on TV.
You realize these games are not counting because you're not there, so they don't count in the standings.
So you need to be there.
Well, I got to make some trips. I've missed South Beach. I got to get there. I'll be at the Garden Thursday night.
Yeah. Okay. So back to Brian. A couple of topics we need to revisit with you. First of all, it appears LeBron is not doing the chalk toss anymore because of what? What changed?
Honestly, I think he just forgot about it.
Do you?
He may go back to it. Look, back in 2011, that was when he stopped doing the chalk toss. It happened during that Celtics series. Remember when they fell down in that series?
Sure.
Looked like they were going to bottom out again. LeBron was like, all right, I can't mess around with this chalk toss before this game. I got to worry about this game. I think he was feeling a little bit of heat last week. 3-game losing streak. He came out and said, I stink. I think he overemphasized that a little bit, but I didn't like the way he was playing. And I don't think he liked the way he was playing. I think he just said, I'm just going to focus on this game. I'm not going to do this.
So is the chalk toss distracting? Is that why he's not doing it?
I just think he wants, I just think he's like, I got to come out here and focus on this game.
Well,
I'm not going to worry about it.
Let me be the first to commend you, because I watched you that morning, and you went off on LeBron in a way I had never seen you go off on him before. And you were completely 1,000% on the money, because what I had seen at that time, Skip, and I had to do a Saturday morning, and thanks for this man cover it for me. I got off that Sunday morning. And I got to tell you, LeBron just looked disinterested. The energy, I've never seen him look so lackadaisical. And Brian came on the air and called it.
Yeah. And if he would be on the show right now and was being honest, LeBron knew it too.
Yeah, he knew.
I mean, and that's
He's honest with himself.
Yeah, and I just think that coming into last week, and by the way, LeBron's going to probably win Player of the Month. He won Player of the Week 2 of the 4 weeks in November. So let's put this in perspective. He's still doing okay. He was not being a good leader. And so I think the chalk toss, he's like, listen, let's focus on the basketball.
Well, our producer just said in the morning shoot around, he said he hasn't given up on the chalk toss completely, even though he hasn't done it.
All right,
lately.
fair enough.
But LeBron's pregame routines, they're always changing.
Right.
You know, there's the handshakes and this and that. I know. I mean, frankly, this chalk toss is a Nike. Sort of a Nike thing. I mean, he was going to do in the opener of the season. Nike passed out a whole bunch of
So it's
things.
branding he's making
I've
money
never
off
paid
of
much
it.
attention to it. It never mattered to me.
But fans love it. Yes,
they love
Stephen A. Fans
I'm not
love
a
it.
Well, he left it up to a Twitter vote, right? Whether he should do it.
Well, let's just say that a whole bunch of little things have been cut and put in little bags.
Right.
For 20,000 people. They were already delivered sitting in boxes
Branding.
when he put out the Twitter vote.
Okay, now back to an early report of yours. Was it after Portland or Utah? I'm forgetting, when Kyrie and LeBron had a little clash in the locker room after the game. Where is their relationship now?
I think it's gotten better, but I am yet to be convinced that this marriage will last long term. Doesn't mean that it won't.
Yep.
I just think that the two of them are going to continue to rub up against each other. But I will be the first person to praise Kyrie Irving. Kyrie has given up the ball to LeBron. Basically, one of the things that turned this Cavs season around, I'm talking about this winning streak, but after that West Coast trip, LeBron took the ball. And he said, I'm going to control the offense, and Kyrie's going to be secondary. He's going to eat second. And Kyrie has gone along with that. I give him credit. Secondly, Kyrie is saying, if I'm giving up less effort on the offensive end, I need to pick up my effort on the defensive end. And he's done that.
Not a bad
Kyrie has, in the last 2 or 3 weeks, slid into the number 2 role, and he's accepted it. And that's a huge step forward. And what's happened is now Kyrie comes into the game when LeBron's sitting, and as soon as that happens, bam, the ball starts going up out of number 2's hands, which I'm fine with. If Kyrie is going to give the effort defensively and be a leader on that end, and to be honest with you, for a while, Kyrie was playing harder on defense than LeBron was. If he's going to be a leader on that end defensively, then when LeBron sits down, son, let her rip. Score your points.
You got to also remember something about Kyrie Irving. This is just what I get from watching his personality. I haven't spoken to him about this, of course. But the thing about it is he's the type of guy, he's supremely confident in himself. And you, no matter if you're the greatest player in the world, are not going to come at him and get in his face, and he's going to give you a second of his substantive time listening to you if you are shortchanging in the effort department. He is not the kind of guy that's going to listen to you just because you're the best. What you're asking of him, he's going to demand, whether directly or indirectly with his body language, by making sure he sees it from you. If LeBron is out there and LeBron seemed disinterested or seemed preoccupied or seemed fatigued or whatever the case may be, Kyrie ain't trying to listen to what you got to say if you're not doing that. But obviously it didn't come to that point because LeBron is going to steer the ship in the right direction and Kyrie's going to adapt.
Something important to never forget. In Miami, those 3 guys came together, literally met and said, we're going to get together. When Kyrie signed with the Cavs on July 1st.
He didn't know LeBron was coming.
I'm telling you, I know that there's people say, no, he knew he was coming. He didn't know. And you know who else didn't know? The Cavs didn't know. The Cavs had Gordon Hayward sitting in their offices. They're getting ready to offer him a max contract. They were going to bring in Chandler Parsons because they hadn't heard from LeBron. All of a sudden, the phone rings to Rich Paul, LeBron's agent. Well, when they signed, Kyrie did not sign up for this. Now, we all think, of course, we want to play with LeBron. But when Kyrie committed to this team, he wasn't thinking it was going to go this way. So that was different than it was with Miami.
The only caveat I would throw into that is you're right. They didn't know, but LeBron knew, and he took his time. LeBron didn't make this decision at the last minute. I don't care what anybody says. He didn't make this decision at the last minute. And usually LeBron knows a hell of a lot sooner than everybody else. He's not some impromptu, spontaneous dude where, oh, okay, this is what I'm going to do. No. He knew, but the Cavs obviously found out later.
Okay, so the biggest shift that I see in the 3-game winning streak, albeit against, can we call it mediocre competition, is that, as you said, LeBron took the basketball. His assists are up. They're all the way up to 7.2 a game. Now, his turnovers are up, too.
Big time.
To some degree because of the disinterest factor. I think he was just a little bit like, let them play, and then he wasn't focused, and he's third in the league in turnovers still, and that's got to get cleaned up a little bit. But it looks like LeBron has assumed the point guard duties. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
That's why they have won 3 games, even against mediocre competition at home.
When early on in the season, LeBron was letting the Cavs have the rope. And when they were messing around, he got frustrated and stood in the corner.
Yeah.
And I don't know if LeBron came to this conclusion, because usually he comes to his own conclusions, or somebody got to him. LeBron, you got to have the ball. You got to take the ball. And I think David Blatt understood that too, but LeBron was going to do it anyway. And really that game in Denver, after the game in Portland, they lost in Portland, they lost in Utah. The game in Denver, LeBron took the ball. And ever since then, now they had that hiccup where they had the 4-game losing streak, but ever since then, he's pretty much run the show, and things have operated a lot better.
How much do you hear or see LeBron listening to Coach Blatt? Not much?
I don't think, one of the other things I've been critical of LeBron about is I don't think he's been invested in David Blatt's success. I think really he set the tone from day one. LeBron signs with the Cavs. He takes a month or 5 weeks to even meet the coach. And there's private jets. He could have been flown
You brought that up.
And I just think that got him off to a bad footing. LeBron has sort of not regarded David Blatt. I don't think he's against him.
Yeah.
I just think he doesn't.
Does David Blatt matter, though?
Yeah.
Does it really matter who the coach of this team is?
Being dead honest with you, in LeBron's eyes, I don't think it matters.
But do you think they get rid of David Blatt eventually?
No, I think David Blatt's learning. I mean, they're getting better. And as long as the team's getting better, the coach is doing his job. I'm seeing them improve. But LeBron is not bonded to this coach the way you would like to see your star bonded to the coach.
Well, I've been saying that all year, and I think that if they don't have a successful season, I don't think Blatt lasts.
Well, one of the other things is LeBron, this has been made clear behind the scenes. LeBron would prefer to play for a guy who played in the league.
Yeah.
He's only done that his first year and a half with Paul Silas. Since that time, he's not, Mike Brown, Eric Spoelstra, David Blatt. I think that LeBron is more drawn to that type of coach. That doesn't mean LeBron's walking into the front office and saying, you got to have this coach. Some people in the league wonder why the Cavs hired David Blatt when they didn't know what LeBron was going to do. The Lakers waited until August to hire Byron Scott to see if Melo or somebody was coming. I just wonder if the seas get choppy, whether LeBron is going to support the coach, because he really hasn't gone out of his way.
He's not. He's not going to condemn him, Skip, Brian, Kerry. He's not going to engage in condemnation. And because people who know basketball respect David Blatt, they believe he knows the game and he can coach. But I was talking to a couple of sources this weekend, and one of the things that I pointed out is that it's not just about, it's about being a leader of men. And I've said this on many occasions. Most coaches in the game know the X's and O's. The question is, can you galvanize a bunch of guys to rally around you and give max effort because they believe in you and what you're preaching? Can you be that guy that reaches the modern day player? The jury is still out as to whether Blatt and his staff, even with Tyronn Lue, that coached under Doc Rivers over the last several years and is the head coach in waiting, who a lot of people are very high on, there are going to be questions about Blatt and, as a result, the people that work under him. In the end, if you're LeBron James, I don't think you'll ever sit there and say, I want him out, or you'll condemn him.
Not his style
but what you won't do is you won't stand up and say, keep him, keep him, keep him. And if you don't do that, that's going to be tacit approval to get rid of him, and then we'll be looking for somebody else.
Real quick question, just a quick answer. From what you've seen so far, Will this Cavs